Now we're going to touch on comments made by LL Cool J with respect to what he looks to be rappers these days who are too sensitive and take things personally when it comes to rap beefs. Obviously, people are still giving their takes and opinions on the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef. Drake and Kendrick are both at this point friends of the channel because we feature them here quite often because the content just is the gift that keeps on giving. But LL Cool J dusted off the microphone and got back in the booth, and he recently, became a rapper again. He's got this new album that I don't know if it's out yet or if it's about to come out. I know he released a single with Fat Joe and Rick Ross. So I know, LL is trying to do the rapper thing again. And so as he is trying to do the rapper thing again, he is doing press. And he recently was doing an interview with Charlemagne, another friend of the channel, and they were talking about rap culture and hip hop culture, and they started talking about beefs and the nature of them, so on and so forth. And LL was talking about how when it comes to rap beefs, rappers have to remember how to not take things personally because guys are just too sensitive nowadays, and it doesn't have to be personal. But here were his thoughts on that here.
I've always been a guy that looked to avoid problems because I know problems become real problems, and I know how I am. Like I don't look for problems, bro. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just really not built like that. I don't want the problems because I'm not fucking playing with you. You know what I mean? Like I don't want no problems.
Okay, bro.
Rather us be friends. You know what I mean? Because you have to look at you got to look at my career, bro. If I put all my energy into a problem, do you know how crazy it would be? This world would be different if I was fucking on the other side of the fence. The whole world. So it's like I don't even want to go there. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep things positive, energy, no problem, no fake tough guy bullshit. Respect dudes, give them love, give them honor, see them, give them a dap. Respect them behind their backs, respect them too, not just in their face. You know what I'm saying? And just keep it there. You know what I'm saying? And it works for me. That's why I have a lot of friends and a lot of respect in the game. And there's very few people, there's only a few people that, aren't in love with me. And I understand why. And, these things happen. You know what I'm saying? But I got good relationships because of that. So I'd rather keep it there with it. You know what I'm saying?
What would you say to rappers today, about the pitfalls of just beef and hip hop? Now that times have changed.
Well, I would say that, I would say that when it's really just about the music and the bars, like, don't take it so personal, B. Like, why the fuck are you so butthurt? Like that you want to kill everything moving because somebody insulted you on the whack. I do get it, but you got to control that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can't really judge them because I've been there. I know it can be upsetting, You see a girl, you in the record plays, you in the car, your girl goes, got you. Now you want to fight. He got you. Or she might go, you be like, yo, this shit, and she kind of gives you the, you see that little, that fucking, you see the mouth do this shit, that little shit, you're like, I want to kill this motherfucker. Now you got to, your man Drake, that not like us shit, that's just torture for a motherfucker. Shit, little kids singing that shit.
Absolutely.
That's just bananas.
Absolutely.
You'll be fine, bro. You know what I mean? Don't even trip. So my thing is that's what I'm saying. So you just don't take it personal. You know what I mean? You can't be overly sensitive.
All right, so lucid wise man, Mr. Cool J there. Todd Smith, I think his name is Todd Smith.
Yeah, man.
Todd Smith saying, hey man, don't take this stuff personally, man. While also saying earlier, I don't get in the beast because I'm not playing with you. So a bit of a double talk there, if you ask me. But what did you make of what he was trying to say there in terms of these guys taking stuff too personally and they're sensitive?
Yo, shout out to LL, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a bit of a senior moment there. But on all seriousness, I get what he was trying to say. He had me lost for a little bit, but the part where he was basically saying like, yeah, it hurt all of our feelings, these beef records. They hurt all our feelings. So I'm not saying y'all soft because of that. I'm saying y'all soft because y'all want to take it outside of the booth. And y'all want to do all this other stuff. Because I'm sure he's talking about, I'm not sure when this was recorded, if the Rick Ross situation had happened by then. But yeah, the Rick Ross situation in Vancouver, the one with the Weeknd, either manager or something like that, and some other stuff going on where it's just shenanigans. And Drake every week, just either making some type of cryptic post or doing something else that's like, dang, bro, get over it. You know what I'm saying? And this is more or less what I was talking about a few weeks ago or what have you, whenever we was talking about Drake. And I was saying that, he just has to humble himself and then take the L, go away, take the L and then come back, a different type of person, a more humble person and make hits like everybody know you can. But instead, he's not doing that. And he's being real butthurt about it and doing all this type of weird rigmarole. So I'm sure he's using this beef and others. I don't know if he's talking about other stuff, but there's recently other rappers being unalived because of stuff. And it's not so much what's going on Wax. It's just that these guys got so much pride online and they're risking it all for their online clout and pride. So it's more than just your girl in a car, making that face and laughing, saying, ha, 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 he got you. It's all your fans saying that. It's all the people that was gassing you up for the last 15, 20 years saying that. And if that's your only source of self-confidence, you're going to crash out for it. And so what we're witnessing right now, at least in the Drake situation, as this case study continues, this young man here is committing career unaliving. The more he keeps going down this path and not being humble. So LL's got a point there, man. You know what I'm saying? I had to dig through it like a Joe Biden speech. But what are your thoughts, man, on LL Cool J saying that these rappers nowadays are a little too sensitive? They can't take the beef like they used to. You agree with that?
No, I don't, because I don't know of a single rap beef that didn't get personal. Can you think of any rap beef that ever stayed music?
No, honestly, I can't.
I can't either. Like I'm going through my memory bank here, trying to think of whether any of these didn't get personal, and they all get personal. Because
I'll say this, and I'll let you go. At least from what I was coming from, it's in the sense of they ended. So they ended. Now with the Pac and Big one, that ended the wrong way. But all the other ones, they just went away. Mm-hmm. So these guys have ongoing, at least for now, these young guys have ongoing things with other people. And they can't just seem to just move on. At least that's what I think he's getting at. But you can go ahead.
Right. Well, I think in terms of the nature of the lyrics of these beefs over time, before they eventually ended, got progressively more personal.
I agree with that.
Obviously, the most famous one out of all of them, Pac and Big, that of course did end in tragedy. But you got Jay-Z and Nas, that didn't end in tragedy necessarily, but that got extremely personal. Particularly after Ether. Jay-Z put out that Super Ugly. It wasn't necessarily rooted in anything merit-based or musical. He was just trying to get as personal as possible to piss Nas off. And I'm a Jay-Z fan. And it got progressively worse before it finally stopped. This one I feel is the same. I don't think there's a difference. And my point is, historically, as I think through this, I don't recall any of these that just stayed music. I think even like there's some lesser known ones like Common, I think, had a problem with Drake. And I don't really think that one went far enough to qualify. But the ones that kind of really jumped out into the mainstream collective consciousness of the people who pay attention to the music, it always gets personal. And whenever things get personal, it's hard to not get, quote, butthurt. Like, I don't know how you can not get butthurt when things get personal. I feel like that's just a normal, typical human reaction. So the question therein becomes, why is it that these rap beefs eventually devolve into personal attacks? And I don't necessarily have an answer to that question. I think part of it has to do with the fact that this music has largely been positioned as an extension of real life, which is different kind of from other forms of entertainment. Like I've said before, a movie that's fiction, we tend to keep it in fiction world. Like no one goes to watch the movie Avengers and thinks that they can go home and put on a Iron Man suit and start flying around. Like whenever we read a fiction book, like no one thinks that they can grab a wand and start doing magic. Like this is real life. I know that I'm reading this book and it's fiction. But when it comes to this music stuff, not only the community and the audience, but the artists themselves, they treat it as reality.
Mhm.
And when you treat something as reality and it becomes real, then it spills over into actual real aspects of life. And included in those actual aspects of life are things like the women you're with, your relationships, your friends, and your family, and things of that nature. And when guys start talking about that stuff and it actually becomes personal, that's when it gets weird. So I just think the nature of the way that this stuff operates and the fact that this music form has always sort of been positioned as an extension of real life, even though people like me will scream until the cows come home that it's just another form of fiction, people don't take it that way. They internalize it as real life and it gets consumed that way. And whenever something is consumed as real life, there's a personal stake in it for you. And whenever there's a personal stake in it, it becomes more of a high leverage situation where any perceived defeat becomes a personal attack. And then you do retreat and become butthurt and you can't get over it, which is what I would say Drake is going through right now. So I hear what LL Cool J is saying. Like I hear what he's saying, but in theory, that makes sense. In actuality, it doesn't, because these things have always been personal, from what I can tell. They haven't always spilled into the streets, but they've always devolved into personal attacks, as far as I can tell. And I think that that's why a guy like J. Cole. I think that's why a guy like J. Cole was like, I'm getting out of here. Because J. Cole was like, hey, I'm going to recuse myself from the situation before it does get personal. Because J. Cole probably knows for himself that he's not built for it. If this was more of a situation where things stayed music, I get the impression with J. Cole, I used to kind of, I still largely perceive him to be an identity crisis rapper. And I get the impression that had he genuinely felt like things wouldn't get taken too far and become personal, and it was really about the fun and competition of music, he wouldn't have done what he did with that apology. Because my initial reaction with J. Cole dropping out of the whole beef situation was, you've been a competitive rapper your whole career. Like I can list off a zillion J. Cole bars right now where he's basically talking about how he eats rappers alive, how he's better than your favorite rapper, how all of these rappers are trash, how he's superior to all of these rappers, and these rappers are liars, and all of the drug and gun bars, they're lying and they fake. Drake been on that competitive rap stuff. So I bow out of it when it becomes an actual competition. There must be a part of you that thinks that at some point it will cease to be competition and it will become something else. And I just think that's the nature of this thing. So I think LL's words make sense on the surface, but in practice they don't, because these things always eventually devolve into chaos and personal attacks.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, and even back then, there wasn't even enough coverage to know what was going on in these personal circles, because while I was busy laughing at the Game and 50 Cent when they was going through their stuff with the G Unit thing, there was actually people getting pow-powed and unalived with those events, and I didn't know that, and I'm sitting at home laughing at all of this stuff because I don't know what's going on in the background, but it was actual people, things happening. So that wasn't just records those guys were making, that it was actual real beef. So who knows what was actually going on in the 90s. So it probably was a personal thing that started it off in the first place, because let's be honest, unless it's like a actual rap battle, I don't know why these guys would actually, want a duel, you know, because I don't know, I don't even know when at any point in rap history where the rap battle was strictly a duel because hey, you're the best in the game. Hey, you're the best in the game. Well, let's prove who's the best. It was never that. It was always because somebody slighted him or he felt
Mhm.
like he was sneak dissing him on a song or some hood politics that went global, you know. And so it's kind of always personal to that degree. So I think the narrative that goes on with the 90s a lot was that it was always on wax. I think that's a narrative. And but me as a consumer, I only saw it as wax because that's all that was presented. And nowadays, where so much coverage and so much stuff going on, you're gonna hear about things.
Yeah.
And on top of that, nobody had pull in the industry like how Drake has now to get somebody touched or have a situation happen like what's allegedly going on now. And this guy's very plugged in, and we see what happens with a person with a very large ego and a lot of control and power, what they are willing to do allegedly in certain situations. So yeah, man, this is happening in real time, and we're all witnessing this stuff together. But I agree. I think the premise behind any beef was always something kind of personal to begin with. And then, but when you lose too lyrically, like you got spanked, that makes it even tougher. So, but that's what I'm saying, man. Like somewhere in there, you weren't humble to begin with, and these things are there to humble you. But one thing that I think is honorable is if you took a L and come back again.
Yeah.
Not the fight again, but just you took your L and then you still made a career or whatever for your life. And that's how you let it not affect you. But is anybody doing that? No. Has people historically did that? I thought they did. And that's why I felt like he's talking about some part of that. But then again, I don't know. I wasn't really there to really know what these guys were talking about. But I think overall, the narrative of the 90s, and we talk big stuff about the 90s, how we appreciate it or whatever. But once these over glorification of the 90s, like how they had it all figured out, like they were A1, I'm not buying all that stuff either. So, and I don't even know what him and the cannabis thing was about. LL and cannabis. I don't know if that was personal or whatever, but maybe I gotta look into that beef. But I think it was a huh.
No, I was just saying, yeah. I was just agreeing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Either.
I gotta look into that and see what that one was all about. But moreover, I just felt like they both moved on from that, I think. But then again, I'm wrong. I might be wrong, so I gotta look into that one. But yeah, man, LL, do your thing, bro. You back out here. I guess on streaming platforms. We'll see how that goes. But I'll definitely see if he's making age appropriate bars. I like to see what's going down with LLs.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he is. But yeah, I just don't think this stuff was ever. I don't know. Anybody in the comments, let us know. Well, like, what are some examples of rap beats that stayed music, that stayed strictly about rap competition? Like, let's see who's better, and at the end of the day, may the best man win. Like, I can't think of any examples. To me, these things have always been personal, and they've always been personal because these rappers and rap music as a culture, it's been given to us and it's been given to those who practice it as an extension of reality. It's not just an art form or a craft. It's like me and who I am in real life. So it's interesting. I hear what he's saying, but I just don't buy it. Whether it's now or in history, I don't think it was about just music even in the 90s. So
Fair.
Shouts out to LL, man. Good luck.
Good luck, sir.
Not that he needs it.
Maybe on that album he do so. We'll see.